Flying Dutchman, El Capitan, representing Team Liquid with the flaming lips. It is Harstem.
I'm suddenly overwhelmed with desire to hit that sub button for some reason. I can't, I don't know why, but something in my brain, the neurons are just connecting. I'm like, I should be subbing right now. Why am I not sub? Shouldn't I be a sub? What's happening?
Right? Oh, man. I feel like, you know, I should give a Twitch Prime to take TV. I don't know. It's just, I'm overwhelmed by the ambassador.
I should click that button. Why am I not clicking? Just click. It's some of the best marketing that StarCraft has ever seen, hands down.
he's just such a stand-up guy too. I think he's best boy, you know? I think he's best boy in StarCraft too. That's my pick anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a deep field of competitors too. We have a lot of really great players. Interesting stuff. Well, also an interesting opening here. Harstem dropping that pylon on the at about the 4 o'clock position, but it looks like he's not going to put anything down there. The probe has abandoned it. So I think that is just going to be to throw Cougar off when he gets that pylon cap going and suspects he's being proxied. But right now, everything in the main base for Harstem, and both players opening up with double Stalker out of those gateways.
Yeah, so there is this really, really weird phenomenon that is really taken hold of EU PvP, and it just goes to show how smart, let's be honest, all of the players are in Europe. So the way that it works is if you expect your opponent to scout your main base, and you just hide a pylon on the map anywhere, they're going to be like, well, crap, the second pylon's missing. They're proxying me. Is it a Stargate? Is it a robotics facility? What's up? Do I go Stalker Sentry? Do I go double Stalker? Do I go with my build still? It just throws everything off. So as a result, we see both players actually not scouting each other's mains because it is such a known commodity. Oh, nice spot from Harstem. He doesn't aggro the probe, but he sees it and he will get on top of it. However, it is going to be able to slip on into the main base. We'll see the double Sentry follow up. That is a great scout for Cougar.
Yeah, that's a lot of information now for Cougar that Harstem doesn't have the reciprocity on his end. Harstem has no idea what's come out of Cougar's bases right now. He's been so busy scouting around the map, has not popped into the main yet to spot what's going on, but there's no probe here to stop it. Oh, there are 4 Stalkers. Never mind. I was like, oh, there's no probe to drop down a pylon to stop. Oh, right, Stalkers. They can probably destroy that guy, can't they? So Harstem still with no information. I don't believe he saw those Stalkers actually at all.
No, he didn't see the Stalkers, but he did see the Nexus, and that is a really important scout, and he is going to be able to get that hallucinated scout now with that quick double Sentry follow-up, a little bit faster than Cougar will be able to. And I believe Harstem, yeah, he sees both the Forge and the Twilight Council, and, well, that's going to be Harstem, yeah, throwing down his own Forge. Does not want to fall behind in those upgrades, and this is kind of what I'm talking about from Harstem, just a lot of good, smart responses in the game. Even seeing that robotics facility is really nice. Seeing the timing on that.
Yeah, well done, well done. +1 is not started yet for Cougar. As I say it, +1 just starts for Cougar. But he delayed just a little bit, which means his timing windows are going to be a little bit narrower. One of the biggest things with Protoss players is you've got to expect that your opponent is going to try and be catching up to you or beating you in that arms race. So creating the widest windows you possibly can for an attack gives you the best opportunity to get that positioning done correctly. So, really well done there by, or pardon me, a bit of a mistake from Cougar to wait a little bit longer on that +1, because now you can see that Harstem's already started his, and it should be caught up fairly quickly. Templar Archives now down as well for Harstem to match, but his Blink play going to be way behind, if in fact it's Blink play at all. Warp Prism out for Harstem. Is he looking to go a little bit more aggressive earlier on here?
That is definitely a possibility. Okay, did he just... Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think he's going to be looking possibly just a little bit harassed. Yeah, warping in some Adepts, so he's just going to harass with this, which I like the decision. Unless he had gone for, you know, either a very quick Immortal or something, basically foregoing that early Forge. I think it's probably going to be more harassment focused. But I do like the concept of taking a third Nexus behind this. You're going to be keeping your opponent back for a while, and during that time, well, you take your third. Have it a little bit faster than your opponent. Take an economic lead. Bang, bang, boom. There you go.
Man, Harstem, the bing, bang, boom Protoss. I like it. I like it. His blink a little bit late, but apparently that's not going to be a big deal. We'll see if these Adepts can get any work done. My question is he going to warp anything else in, or is it just going to be these 2 Adepts? 2 Adepts, 1-shot a probe, but 4 Adepts can 2-shot 2 probes, man. This is going to bring, wow, Cougar all the way back to his main base. And if Harstem does in fact move in, that could be one of the biggest benefits of that Warp Prism, is just keeping Cougar back at home and buying Harstem some time to get his third base saturated, to really press his economic lead, because right now the players fairly even economically for this entire game.
Yeah, and well, exactly. They're pretty even right now, and so Harstem with the slightly faster third Nexus, and I mean slightly, like it is a very small difference. Spotting these additional gateways is pretty nice, and the lack of this extra gas. I'm thinking Cougar actually is going to cut. Yeah, he's already cutting probes right now, so this is going to be a pretty big attack, I'm feeling, coming in from Cougar. But he is going up to that +2 attack, so who knows?
It's always tricky when a player cuts probe production for a little while and then gets their +2, and you're like, wait, but those things don't go together. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the name of the game in PvP, the like semi-half commitments, just see what you can get done. Speaking of small commitments, these two adepts getting into the main base, already picking off 5 probes, and the damage is going to continue. We may see at least 10, 11 probes go down, only a single stalker being warped in. This is so good for Harstem.
Because Cougar is tied up on the other side of the map right there. Some huge force fields going down. It looks like the Stalker's going to try and drive them away. But Cougar caught between a force field and another force field there. And that's going to allow Harstem time to rotate those Immortals back over to his third base to defend from the high ground position a lot better. We'll see if Cougar's rotation over to the natural can help out a little bit. But yeah, man, those 2 adepts in the main base making a huge difference. And putting Harstem significantly ahead in income for the first time this game.
Yeah, this is a massive lead. Cougar needs to get something done right now, or he is just not going to be able to recover. This is a massive, massive advantage for Harstem. Now, something else I want to note is that Harstem does have... Ooh, I've seen this before. Blink DTs. Okay, I'll talk about that in a moment. Big fight coming in. Meanwhile, Drop in the main base is going to run into some Stalkers. Harstem did take out that Warp Prism, which is big. Very, very big. And, well, with the cannon helping out, he is going to lose 3 out of the 4 Stalkers, but shutting down that Warp Prism, well, considering the economic position, that is such a big win for Harstem.
Yeah, Cougar is right now kind of looking for ways to come back in this game, right? He's so far behind economically. He's got to make something happen. Now, the onus is on him to play slightly better than Harstem. And unfortunately, that Warp Prism was only one of his only avenues to really do so. Harstem already grabbing his 4th base, working on +2 at about the same time as Cougar. And right now, the Dark Shrine is Cougar's only other real attempt to bring something to this game that Harstem simply doesn't have.
I mean, Harstem does have the Dark Shrine, but he doesn't have that Blink.
Oh, my apologies. That's what I meant. Blink for the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Don't you worry. You got this.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's this weird thing that's happening right now with Cougar where he is teching in a lot of different directions. So that Blink DT definitely can be a bit of a Hail Mary here to try and bring things back. Maybe you blink forward, snipe an opponent's observer, and then try and blink on top of the army. But it looks like he's not going to be doing that. I've seen him do it before, but he's not going to be doing it here. But now also getting +3 attack and getting the double Robo Disruptor here. Nice scout for Harstem. We'll see the timing of his opponent's 4th base. Knows that he retains that economic lead.
Yeah, well done. I love the counter Robo Bay from Harstem as well. Just making sure that he doesn't get surprised. Early disruptors from Cougar, though, cannot be ignored steadfast. Having a mass disruptor count or a massive disruptor count as compared to your opponent is huge. The zoning potential is enormous. And it could prove to be a big deal here. That observer on the map for Cougar going to catch Harstem trying to sneak some DTs across. And now we should see some static detection going down immediately. And there it is. First photon cannons arriving at the 4th base. The 3rd base already well protected. So Cougar shouldn't be caught by surprise by these DTs. He's even leaving DTs of his own back home because he knows just the DPS output of those DTs is just so huge. And now the 2 armies kind of circle each other.
Yeah, and it looks like Harstem is loading up for a big punch on this 3rd base. He does have a nice little army supply lead, so he's trying to kind of pen the army back. And then, this is a lot of Immortals versus just 1 for Cougar. Harstem does see the fantastic SimCity at the 3rd base, and he realizes, yeah, this isn't happening. There's no way. And that's a bit of a win for Cougar because Harstem, he's maxed out right now, and he is looking to get some damage done. Cougar, buttoned up tight, not happening.
It's so funny to see both these players desperately trying to outmaneuver their opponent and then realizing some minor things that might help later. I love that they're both getting that gravitic drive for their observers right now, because they're both like, oh shit, DTs are a real thing. Oh man, I should work on that. And realizing it's just a little too late, so it'll help keep those observers alive just a little longer. How many PvPs have we seen where the last observer standing depends who wins the game? Bit of a scuffle here, but I don't think it's going to turn into too much here. Neither player willing to engage, although Harstem more so, certainly. Oh, he just barely misses that disruptor shot by a pixel.
That looked so much like it was going to hit. I cannot believe it. Meanwhile, distraction coming in from Harstem. He's going to try and move in on this fourth base. But once again, this wall at the third is just way too much. And look at the defense that Cougar is stacked up here. 8 Blink DTs. Now, oh no, this is a bit of a problem. Cougar going to get caught out of position here and sandwiched a little bit. These charge lots, well, the +3 attack will finish up in a couple moments for Harstem. That will equalize the upgrades. This is super awkward, kind of for both players.
Yeah, a bit of a sandwich coming in from Harstem, trying to get some damage done on the north side and the south side. Unfortunately, there's no observer on both sides for Harstem, so these DTs from Cougar going to drive away the north flank and save the south flank as well. Cougar really caught in a tricky situation there, but look at this, the army supply graph, a much more efficient trade for Cougar than it was for Harstem. Harstem was at about 120 army supply, and now he's knocked down to 105, equal to Cougar, and Cougar cleaning up fairly well here.
Yeah, this was a really, really important fight for Cougar, but this is so bad. Oh my god! 5 disruptors for a single Nova. Oh, there goes that advantage he just worked so hard to mitigate.
I'm constantly reminded of the witch elf, the elf witch in the forest who reminds the Fellowship of the Rings that their quest stands upon the edge of a knife. I feel like that's what PvP is all the time, standing on the edge of the knife, and it looks like Cougar has just cut himself a little bit. Beautifully played by Harstem there, a flick of the wrist, and 5 disruptors go down instantaneously. And we talked earlier in the series about how important those disruptor numbers can be. Oh, another nice disruptor shot, but it's all stalkers. Not quite as efficient. He is going to pay the iron price there. Both disruptors going to go down. Harstem keeping Cougar busy at this top base while pushing into the fourth.
Yeah, and nice split from Harstem against that disruptor from Cougar. And, well, as you said, this army is very out of position for Cougar. Oh, man, look at these disruptor shots. It's not going to be enough to kill off the base, especially with that warp in, but Harstem getting some excellent distraction, and now he's going to take out the 5th. Nice cancel for Cougar, but that is, you know, it's a consolation defense, consolation prize.
This is so cool to see Harstem playing a bit like a Terran player, right? It's like he's got 2 medevacs full of units on both sides, and he's just sort of double dropping all the time, keeping his army in 2 distinct control groups here, and so he's dual pressuring. And Cougar really falling under that pressure a little bit. This is giving Harstem the time he needs to get his second Stargate out, to get the fleet bacon out, and start working on his griddle, so he can get some of those carriers out very quickly.
I've never heard that. That's fantastic. I love that. Ooh, nice spot on this Warp Prism. Going to find a big Zealot run by, and that is not going to achieve very much.
No, not at all. It's going to achieve a lot of dead Zealots on both sides. The Disruptor's not really willing to fire here because they're going to take too much friendly fire. I think that will draw Cougar back. Oh my god, I thought he was going to go defend the Zealots. He's actually going to drive a wedge between Harstem and his army here. Harstem's army now split. He's not going to be able to defend this very well, and Cougar might get a nice little catch here.
Oh no. Okay, Harstem just pulling back from those disruptors. Cougar actually eating a big disruptor shot right there. Meanwhile, big warping gonna get shut down by Harstem. Oh my god, these disruptor shots.
Those timings were incredible.
This time there is an observer for Harstem with the army, so he doesn't necessarily need to retreat from those DTs, but the main army of Cougar coming back. However, the trade right there was so in favor of Harstem, it's insane.
Yeah,
where are the disruptors for Cougar? Okay, there they are. Oh god, oh god.
Oh, well, turnabout is fair play and a decent push for Cougar as well. I'm just about to show you what the army size graph looks like, and I've never seen an army size graph that looks more like the stock market on a volatile day. Back and forth and back again as Cougar suddenly draws even in supply before Harstem pulls right back ahead. I think Harstem's still in a really strong position. Interestingly, Cougar is getting already has +1 air weapons for his carriers, but Harstem is working on +1 shields before that. So I think they'll be even once this next round of upgrades finishes. The real question is going to be who can get those carriers out more quickly and who can engage with a better angle.
Yeah, and this is a big warping coming into the main base for
hello.
Harstem. If he can get 1 or 2 of these Stargates, that would be so huge. Or even the Cybernetics core. He's going to go straight after this cannon, though. Eliminate the detection in the main base. And, well, that's going to mean these DTs are a big problem. Oh, is this an Arctosis? No, it's not.
Oh, thank goodness. Immediately, 3 Brood War carriers pop out looking like the Led Zeppelins that they are. Man, they're so ugly and so amazing, and I love it so much. They will clean up the end incursion in the main. An interesting choice from Cougar here. Look at this. Switching over into Tempest. Steadfast, what's going through his head right now?
That is a great question. I actually don't know. I'm thinking he wants to get some carriers to stand toe-to-toe, and then whenever Harstem, thinks about fighting, oh, wow, big blink forward. Oh, God, there's disruptors. They're going to get a big shot. That was such an overcommitment for Harstem, but now he gets 4 disruptors on the rally disruptor of his own. Fantastic turnabout right there for Harstem.
What is happening here? This is some Bruce Lee nonsense. We're gonna figure out, when the players finish their blink, you're gonna bait the blink out and then send something in behind this. They're all in the Matrix right now, suspended in midair, planning their next 47 kicks in a row. It's incredible. Cougar's Tempest production continues, by the way. He's got 3 on the map, going up to 6. Steadfast, who wins in a carrier versus Tempest battle?
Well, if the Tempests have enough room to micro, they've got the support of a mothership, they've got an oracle to reveal, they will win over time. They're very, very good against massive units. The problem is, if the carriers, if the Blink Stalkers can get on top of them, they are very fragile. Very, very fragile, and they will lose a fight straight up. So it all comes down really to positioning a little bit.
Yeah, this is so interesting here. The Mama ship out for Harstem. Cougar does not have his own. Let's take a look at the units counting station here. 4 carriers to 2, but 6 Tempests out. Meanwhile, the Stalker count way in favor of Harstem. 24 now to 7. So Harstem still trying to find a good angle, but I love that Cougar is using a lot of this dead space, so that it's very difficult for Harstem to move forward here. And this Mama ship eating a lot of Tempest shots. It's going to go down right away, wasting its Warp Prism very quickly.
Yeah, that was a really nice fight defensively for Cougar. Both players very low on money at this point. Harstem, they are maxed out. Oh man, that was a bold move from Harstem. He is going to pay a little bit of he's going to pay a little bit for that. Now I really have to applaud Cougar for being on top of his observer count in this game. He has had 6 observers for so long, and anytime he loses 1 or 2, he replenishes them immediately. Harstem, he's only got 1 observer right now. Where is that? He just had 1 pop out, but okay, other one is in the main base.
Interesting choice there. The mothership for Cougar is going to be a little bit more useful here. Oh, Disruptor missing those Zealots and the DTs, actually, so no Disruptors getting a good shot there for Harstem. Cougar pushing in. The army supply exactly even here, but the upgrade advantage in favor of Cougar, +2 air weapons to just +1 of Harstem, and that could be just enough to help him. I love that Harstem is staying guerrilla-focused in this game, trying to destroy the economy of Cougar from within, but he has a knock on his front door right now, and who's there? It's Cougar.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage that Harstem just took. 17 probes just went down, and 1 of his bases. Now, it was a base that was half mined out. Ooh, a couple of awkward disruptors right there. The mothership also a little bit abandoned right here on the recall, but he is going to be able to get back to the army. Harstem, not quite sure how far back he was. Meanwhile, this carrier flyby, I should say, is going to find a Nexus on the top side, and there's no recall available. So if Harstem keeps the pressure up on the right side, he can actually just continue to kind of dance with those carriers.
And that's going to force Cougar to engage here. He can't afford to let those carriers sit back. So Disruptor's just zoning out right now, but already we see that last base for Cougar going down. There's pressure at the 6 o'clock base as well. Action all over the map right now, Steadfast, as we go into the serious late end game here. DT's back home for Cougar, but it's not enough. Harstem is going to lose the 3 o'clock base, and now Cougar can barrel down onto the 3rd base. I love for Cougar that Harstem only has a few bases and there are a few natural attack patterns, but I don't love that he's not responding to this real pressure back home.
Yeah, these carriers, 2 of them did just get picked off by, it looks like a warp in of Stalkers, but it was not enough. Carriers are very, very strong units. Oh, nice playing forward, will pick off a Disruptor. How many Disruptors? That was the last Disruptor for Cougar. That is a big deal.
Yeah, no Disruptors mean not just those big hits of Disruptor damage that inject those juicy clip endorphins into our brain, but also no zoning out, and that's so crucial. If you've got disruptors, you can zone out your opponent's army and force them back, buy yourself a little more time to get some damage done. But with no disruptors, that's going to give Harstem a little bit more freedom to move on into this bottom base as well. And the Tempests have got to be really careful here, because even though they're very strong, one blink under one lone Tempest can really destroy it very quickly.
Yeah, and I have to say that was a really nice little dance in favor of Harstem. Cougar tried to snipe his observer with 2 observers, and Harstem picked off the first one very quickly, and then the second one, he was able to dance that observer away. Now, he does get a little bit trapped there and is forced to sacrifice 2 disruptors. That is expensive, but he has put so much pressure economically on to Cougar. Actually, to be honest, they both have put a lot of pressure on each other. This has been such a fantastic game of positioning. Nice blink on top of that DT right there.
Yeah, one of these really difficult games to call when there's action all over the map. People are going to be like, oh, you're not talking about this and this. I know, guys. I only have 1 mouth, and these players have 2 hands, so there are four hands total, and I can only talk about what one of them is doing at a time. It's wild. Nice cancel there from Cougar. Harstem is going to be forced to stay on these 4 bases for a while. If we take a look at the income graph, we can see Harstem's been ahead for almost the entire game, but finally, in the last few moments, in the last 5 minutes especially, Cougar's been evening things up just a little bit here. This is going to be a very, very quick, a very, very even series now, but Cougar may be getting a bit of an advantage. As I say that, he loses so many more probes. We'll lose these carriers, though, or Harstem will lose 1 carrier, and the recall will be forced back.
Oh my god, look at this. Meanwhile, as it's happening, Harstem striking down at the bottom base, but Cougar, he is... Every time Harstem has made a great move, Cougar has had an answer, and that is why this game is still so much on a nice edge. Even with... Oh, this is a really awkward situation for Harstem right there. Losing a... Oh, no, that's not so bad. 2 more disruptors. It seems like every big disruptor shot has been in favor of Harstem, but they both lost so many.
Interesting choice from Harstem, warping in 8 more Zealots right now. I'm not sure what he's defending against, because the army for Cougar is increasingly going up in the air. 1 more carrier coming down, and it looks like he's going to try and remax on air units despite having a very hyper low economy. The pressure now coming in on Harstem's base, and I gotta say, when Cougar started making these Tempests, my eyebrow went way up into the air. I was like, what's going on with these Tempests? But now, he's kept him alive for so long this game, they're really starting to show their value in zoning Harstem out and making it difficult for him to take a good engagement.
Yeah, he has extracted so much value from these Tempests. These cannons will get taken out by this warp into DTs, but that is super worthwhile for Cougar. That was a lot of Zealots that went down for just 2 cannons and a couple of Dark Templar warp-ins. Now, I want to talk about this DT right here. This has been the MVP of the game. 6 kills on that. I guarantee every single one of them is a probe trying to take that Nexus.
It's so frustrating, because I feel like as a pro gamer, you're like, I swear I went to send a probe up. Okay, I'll send 1 more. And then 2 seconds later, I swear I sent a probe up. Okay, I'll send 1 more. Harstem actually putting himself in a really dangerous position right now, stuck very near Cougar's bases. And again, I don't believe he has any recalls available, so DT wards there as Cougar defends his bottom 6 o'clock base. Harstem actually going to get caught behind this. Oh, this is fascinating. Harstem was looking to put some pressure on, but Cougar's actually going to be like, oh, you're on the wrong side of the map? No problem. And he's going to stab him while the knife is in the air from Harstem. It looks like 1 more base from Harstem. It's going to go down here, Steadfast.
Yes, it will, and this is kind of what I was talking about with moves and counter moves. So Harstem takes out the middle base of Cougar. Cougar outmaneuvers a little bit of the army, blinks, kind of baits the army to the top side with the blink stalkers, runs them away, and then goes back through the middle and takes out Harstem's middle base. It has been so much punch and counter punch, but Harstem really needs another base, and the fact that Cougar has kept this bottom base alive while Harstem has never been able to take this top one is so important. It is so disastrous for Harstem in the long run.
Yeah, don't be fooled, guys, by those worker counts. The real problem right now is remaining bases. Due to time warp going down, a huge engagement here. Both players look like they're finally ready to engage. Disruptors from Harstem not going to get any big shots off, and yeah, he knows he can't do it. Cougar is going to take game number 1. What an insane first game between these 2 players.
That was such a ridiculously good game from both players. Honestly, it was like a chess boxing match. But instead of them playing chess and boxing, it was literally chess boxing. Like, I don't know, they were just swinging hammers at each other, but
wild gingerly
fu.
moving stuff.
Exactly.
I totally watched that. Chess boxing, but with hammers, and it all happens at the same time. My God. And the thing is, I feel like Except for the last 2 or 3 minutes where Cougar's army was really just much stronger than Harstem's. I feel like we could rewind that game to any point from 10 minutes on and have the players replay it and get a totally different result. Not just the win, but the army composition, the rotations, the attack patterns. I feel like everything could be totally different at any given moment there. Both of those players putting on a hell of a show. Phenomenal PvP going toe-to-toe. And if we're going to get our predictions right, Steadfast, Harstem better win these next 2.
Yeah, and he needs it not just for this to make us right, but he needs it to have a chance in this group. He's 1-2 right now in a very tough group.
In a very tough group. In fact, both players 1-2. We'll talk about the group standings here in just one moment. Let's hop in to the next map in this series, Eternal Empire LE. All right, we are live in the bottom left-hand side of Eternal Empire LE. It's our red Dutch Protoss player from Team Liquid. Give it up for Harstem.
Yep. I botched that a little bit one there. And his opponent spawning up in the top right with such clinical late-game PvP. It is the blue Protoss player. Give it up for 3D Clans Jaguar Cougar.
What a dope name. Man, it's so good. Man, it's so good.
It's so awesome. It's so inventive, too. Like, really, really neat. Like, who comes up with that? It's clearly masters of late-game PvP.
Hey, Steadfast, did you see the video that the guy made where Artosis and Tasteless called out whoever was named Sword in SC2. They're talking about Spear in the GSL. And they were like, yeah, but you can't be named Sword. That sucks. And then a guy whose name is Sword SC2 made this, like, sad video about changing his name.
Oh.
It's
that is very sad, to be honest.
It's pretty hilarious. They had unintentionally called him out, and he was like, oh, you're going to call me out? All right. Oh, man, it
Fine.
was fun.
We'll change it. That's how it's going to be.
It was good. It was good. Well, this game one looking similar to the last game. I think Cougar is going to spot the proxy. Oh my god. He follows Harstem's probe instead of going a little bit further south. Going to miss that proxy pylon. Should suspect it's there, though. Seeing a probe at that location is a little suspicious. I imagine he'll go back down and find it soon. Oh, maybe not. We'll see.
Well, the thing about this, it's a very complex mind game because you can be expecting that your opponent is going for their own proxy. You can be looking for your proxy.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, brain just did a thing. And that's not going to be the case. Now it is that fake proxy pylon. He does have that third pylon back home. No tech structure there, and it is going to be double stalker versus double adept with that double sentry follow up coming down from Harstem. And well, this is looking like probably a Stargate opener coming down from Cougar. Yeah. With that quad adept opening. Actually, there is a build where you go for like 6 or 8 adepts and you just expand behind it and you just keep the pressure on with the adepts. We'll see if that's what it is.
Yeah, that could be a fascinating one. I've seen that build, I think, once or twice already in the DreamHack EU. As you said, though, a bit more rare than the more standard just Stargate follow-up. You know what's really fascinating, though, is that last game we went 25 minutes in a PvP. We saw mass air armies on both sides, and you know what unit I didn't see one of, Steadfast?
What's that?
The Void Ray. We didn't see a single Void Ray out last game, leading me to wonder, do Void Rays need a buff? I feel like it's time. It's been so long since Blizzard really buffed Void Rays. I'd love to see him putting out another patch this week or maybe next week, just to really make that a little bit stronger.
You know what they should do? I think they should add Prismatic Super Alignment.
Oh, say more. What would that be like?
So, depending on the alignment of the player, it has different abilities.
Also, hang on, Fear Dragon, make sure you're listening so you can get this ready for your next tweet. Go on.
Yeah. All right, so so let's say that you are a very noble, good person. You have your prismatic lawful good alignment.
Okay.
And what that's going to do is it's going to heal up all of your units. Very selfless thing to do. It does cost the Void Ray some of its energy, and of course it's a bit of a longer cooldown. But let's say you've got that chaotic evil prismatic alignment. So what that one's going to do is that one's going to actually siphon energy off of your own buildings and then for the next 60 seconds, you gain that HP and DPS.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh my god, I want to see this. I want to see this alignment chart, Steadfast. Have you made it have you made like the 9-box D&D alignment chart for what the prismatic alignment would actually do?
I think that's the next Reddit meme. No one do that. Don't take this from me. Please.
The bad news is, Steadfast, you're on camera for the next like 10 hours doing EU and North America. So in the time it takes for you to finish casting this, you can log off and it's going to be the top post on r/StarCraft by the time we're done here. But I love that idea. What happens for people who are neutral good like myself, Steadfast? What would a prismatic neutral good alignment be?
You're putting me on the spot here. Prismatic neutral good. So what that one's going to do is that one is going to you're going to be able to shoot your own units with a healing ray, similar to Ana from Overwatch. But you can only do it if there is an enemy unit close in range.
Oh my!
So it has to be on the same screen as the void ray.
Steadfast, I want you to DM my next campaign. I'm going to bring you in as a guest DM for my next D&D campaign. That's amazing. +1 on the way for both players, even. Blink on the way for both players, even. Third base on the way for both players, slightly ahead for Harstem, but not too different. One of the reasons we've been filling some time talking about this amazing idea from Steadfast is not just because it's awesome, but because right now, this game looks like it might be a little passive early on.
Very much so. And as you said, they were pretty much exactly mirrored. The only difference is that Harstem kept a probe, he still kept it here, in the main, let's call it, corridor, in order to stop adepts. And thinking that it could be oracles, Cougar built a couple of shield batteries. Other than that, exactly mirrored. And to be honest, with all the lost mining time, probably equates to about the cost of 2 shield batteries.
Interesting. And now we see the first big difference between these two players. Cougar has dropped that Dark Shrine in his main base. The Warp Prism on the way. It looks like he may be going for a little bit of Warp Prism harass with those DTs. How's the detection looking right now for Harstem? 2 observers, 1 photon cannon. They're both at home. I think he's going to be okay, Steadfast.
I think so too. He's, as you said, he's got those photon cannons on the way, at least at the natural. Natural, of course, a little bit more exposed than the other bases. The ability to warp in there, drop DTs on top of the cannon can be problematic. Looks like a lot of force fields just being used right there by Cougar, but not really much coming of it, like at all. Like no units lost at all, just energy for force fields.
Yeah, buying him a little bit of extra time, I guess, is all I can see. But Harstem does have a pretty significant army right now. Harstem's Warp Prism not in position, though, just finishing up. Needs to fly across the map before he can really engage with this. So Harstem engaging a bit prematurely. Okay, no, he's going to back from the third here. As Cougar's Warp Prism is up at the 9 o'clock, waiting to get those DTs into the natural of Harstem.
Yeah, now if he actually just goes only into the natural, it's kind of unfortunate for him because it's a little bit of, well, it's the only place where there's actually a cannon. Now, a cannon starts at the third base. Harstem also cannoning up his, what's going to be his 4th Nexus.
Wow.
Just kind of posturing and checking for a 4th base of Cougar. Oh, I heard swiping. Oh, he's going after the cannon at the 4th. It's not done yet. And, well, that means that this is a little bit awkward for Harstem.
Nice snipe there by Cougar. He's now in the natural as well with the rest of those DTs. Stalkers there are going to force that Archon down, though, and that's going to be not a lot of damage. 5 probes going down, which isn't too bad, as that DT establishes dominance in that 4th base, but Harstem doesn't care about the DT at all. He's going straight in here. Some more force fields from Cougar, zoning Harstem out just a little bit, I think. Harstem will be forced back there. Cougar is going to buy himself just a bit more time, but aggressive blink forward there from Harstem. Going to drive Cougar up the natural ramp, or up the 3rd ramp there. Will push him back toward the 3rd base. There are 2 shield batteries here for Cougar, but they're already a little bit low on energy. I'm not sure if he can defend against this. Harstem has 74 army supply on the map.
Yeah, this is a lot of army from Harstem. If he actually had kept that shield battery alive, ooh, nice use of the energy on those sentries, knowing that his opponent had an Archon and force fields were not going to avail him. So he pops those hallucinations and reinforcements coming in here. Oh, he's going for that Archon. He not quite going to be able to get it, but will force a cancel, which is actually much more significant on that 4th base. And he then gets the Archon. Nice.
Yeah, having his cake and eating it too. The DT's coming in from Cougar, but Harstem does have the observer here. No observer for for Cougar, so that Observer from Harstem should be fairly safe. Yeah, is going to be able to escape. Harstem pushed back, though, and Cougar defending really, really well here. Is Harstem in a bit of trouble here, Steadfast?
I think Harstem's in a pretty good spot, to be honest. He's got his +3 on the way. His fourth base is done. It was a really nice snipe on the Observer of Cougar, and he will pick off these DTs, forces another Archon morph, and he's got more Blink Stalkers. So he's going to be able to take a really nice trade, and these flanking Zealots. Now, Cougar also coming in with his own flanking Zealots, but Harstem is going to be able to pick those off kind of with impunity. It's Cougar who's a little bit in an awkward situation right now.
That shows you how important it is. If you're going to flank, you've got to get the timing exactly right. A few seconds too early or too late, and this what could be a very powerful flank just turns into more units for the meat grinder for your opponent. So well done by Harstem and Cougar, having the same idea, just not quite executing on time. +3 starting for both players here, but Harstem really looking strong.
Yeah, and this is a lot of DTs right now. Cougar gonna go for the snipe on the Observer. He will get one of them, going for the second one, but Harstem turns it around, will take that one out, and now he can blink back and will be able to just see those DTs. Didn't want to take too much damage, kind of caught on the ramp, so he just blinks back, but he has continued to trade quite well, and he is up 30 army supply. He's held that lead for a decent bit of time, and now Harstem's gonna be throwing down 3 gases at once and transitioning into a later stage in this game.
What do you think about Cougar's choice to warp in DTs instead of the more traditional Zealots to sort of hold that front line, even though he knows that Harstem has those Oracles already out, or the Observers already out? Is it worth it?
I think it's just a stylistic thing that maybe he's a little bit hard-coded, but he needs to be paying attention to how conscientious Harstem has been about sniping and protecting his own, sniping his Observers and protecting his own. It has been a really, really fantastic job out of Harstem here. And, well, the problem is for that, for Harstem, is all it really takes is once for that to be an effective play from Cougar, and, you know, 10 Blink DTs jump on the army, and things become a real problem for Harstem. But that being said, he is not waiting for that. He's going to have a very big +3 timing window with a lot of Archons against an army that is not prepared for Cougar.
Yeah, this could be a really nice timing as Harstem's +3 finishes in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. There's +3, and now Harstem has his own Zealots in the back, drawing things back. We see Cougar investing a lot in infrastructure right now. His Robo Bay just finishing up, his Blink just finishing up, his +3 just on the way. But this is Harstem's chance to get a good fight. Really nice movement patterns there by Cougar to get in, drive Harstem down south, and snipe that Warp Prism. That's going to shut Harstem down for a little bit longer here. And Cougar defending a lot better than I thought he was going to, considering how far behind he's been in army this entire game.
Yeah, it came down to kind of what I was talking about there with that Observer snipe. It was that snipe on the Observer from Cougar that allowed him to hold on. If Harstem had not lost that Observer, I think we're probably seeing, if not a GG, a very, very successful fight for Harstem. And probably he's able to ride that momentum to a victory. But instead, it is Cougar sniping that Observer, getting a pretty good defensive trade, and staying alive.
Staying alive, going full Gloria Gaynor on us here, not dying just yet. Harstem's Dark Shrine finally finishes up, so we can now counter the same way, but we're looking again at another big fight. Man, these two players have been champing at the bit this entire series to fight each other. I feel like I've not stopped commentating just straight fights for about 15 minutes now. I'm Joe Rogan up in here, just shouting about Joey Diaz for no reason.
I want to talk about how brilliant this is from Harstem. So he's going to use it now to try and get a snipe on this 5th base, but keeping that Observer far back, knowing that Cougar wants to go for those snipes. Such good decision-making. Such fantastic decision-making from Harstem. Cougar, recognizing there's an Observer, even though he doesn't have detection, he's like, oh, my DT's being hit. Time to morph it into an Archon. Now, a couple of Zealots will get caught here, and the War Prism. Ooh, that is a little tough for Harstem. He's got to be real careful about getting trapped up here in the corner.
Yeah, and oh, he is getting zoned in here by Cougar. God, one Disruptor would just be so gorgeous right now. The Colossus is going to help a little bit of extra splash damage there. It looks like if we look at the upgrades tab, we do see Extended Thermal Lance is finished up. The player's fairly even otherwise. Harstem does have the shield upgrade where Cougar does not, and that's going to allow Harstem to stay alive a little bit longer. Cougar miscontrolling an Archon and a Stalker there, but here's the little counter punch from Harstem. Not a lot of probes going down just yet, though, Steadfast.
No, but it achieved its goal, which is distracting Cougar. That was actually Harstem was in such a dire position right there. He was in a lot of trouble with where his army was and how it was arrayed against the army of Cougar. But by having that little run by go in towards the third base, even though Cougar dealt with it quite well, it gave Harstem the opportunity to pick off a couple of straggling units from Cougar and let him escape with the majority of this army. Now, I am very confused by what I'm seeing with these 5 Archons on the top. Oh, okay. He is going for a big run by. I think that's a mistake, though. Cougar has really shown a strong proclivity for this defense, but maybe he just wants to get rid of the Archons as he transitions into Disruptor Skytoss.
I think that might be it, actually. The Archon's not going to be as valuable until the ultra late game when Cougar also is going for Skytoss. Now, Cougar slightly ahead of Harstem on that transition. If we check Cougar's base, we do see two of those Stargates going down, cranking out the Phoenix and also the Fleet Beacon on the way. So interestingly, rather than going for like a big, rather than going for like a big carrier Tempest army like we saw last game, it looks like he might be going just for mass Phoenix and getting that Anion Pulse Crystals.
He's thinking less late game, more anti-disruptor right now, which can work. Oh, this observer for Harstem is going to get the observer of Cougar. Now, the reinforcing observers will come in for Cougar, but already the DTs were forced into Archons there. Now, Harstem thinking about pushing into the natural, realizing, yeah, his army movement's going to be too good against this. I cannot do it. And now those Archons finish up for Cougar. He will clean this up, only losing 4 probes. I'd say that was pretty worth it. What do you think? What do you think about this game state, actually? Man, Units lost, 25 different.
This is so crazy, man. Unbelievably tight game from both players. I like the shift that we're seeing from Cougar right now, and I think Harstem's being a bit too bold with these Blink Stalkers. Going up to the main base is a really, really risky maneuver, but the Disruptors on the high ground normally would be very good, but as we can see, the Phoenix helping to lift those up and sort of negate all that Disruptor damage. A few decent shots, but this is allowing Harstem time to clean up that north 12 o'clock base. And if he can snipe the Fleet Beacon while he's in the main, that could be huge.
Yeah, big recall coming in from Cougar, though, over towards that base. He will keep the base alive. But, I mean, Harstem, now he can actually fight the remainder of this army. And this is so much important tech. That was a lot of Archons, too. What is the... Man, there's so many prime targets for Harstem to go for. He's going to go for the Dark Shrine, which I actually like. And wow, picking off a lot of Rally and Phoenix right here. 3 of them going down for free. Nice blink from Cougar to dodge that, but now Harstem counter-blinking on top of the Colossus. And, well, Harstem will ultimately get completely cleaned up here, but he trades out so well with this army. Last Archon just barely going down.
Oh,
beautiful
man.
for Harstem.
If you're going to sacrifice Stalkers for things like Phoenix, preventing that Phoenix count from getting super high, trading out for Archons, getting a Colossus, even the Dark Shrine, really well done by Harstem there. It was a very ballsy play, but our Dutch Protoss player pulled it off. Cougar now going to try and counter pressure here. So Harstem's now significantly ahead economically. He's got a lot of bases he's got one base that Cougar does not, it's about to get destroyed. But he still has the probe advantage. He does not, however, have the army advantage, and already carriers coming out, as well as that mothership from Cougar. I'm a bit concerned about Harstem right now, who's again slightly behind in the transition game compared to his opponent. Cougar doing a really nice job of staying on top of where his opponent's tech is going to be, not where his opponent's tech is now.
Yes, that is something that really came to bite him in the butt last game is, oh man, these Disruptors. Okay, they're not being controlled by Cougar, and they will get blinked on and taken out for free. Now, important to note, Harstem did not use his recall there, so it's still off of cooldown. Oh, couple of Disruptors. Nice shot getting one of the Colossus right there. And Cougar getting pulled apart here a little bit by Harstem.
This seems to be Harstem's MO in this series specifically, and he does this quite often, is to split up his damage as best he can, put pressure on multiple points in the map, and then hope that your opponent makes a mistake at one or more of them. And if you win one of the little battles, you can turn that into a big win, as we saw earlier when Harstem went to the main base of Cougar. And it was a tiny battle, right? It was just a handful of Stalkers, and Cougar recalled or pulled back about half of his army. So not a huge battle, but Harstem able to spin that little win into a big victory. So really well done by Harstem there. Nice blink away from Cougar, keeping those units alive right now. But Harstem's going to go ahead and blink forward. The Stalker count doesn't quite have critical mass here, and Cougar's going to start losing a lot of high-value units dead fast.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as that Colossus goes down, there's not enough to protect the Skytoss, and Harstem takes the opportunity, blinks on top of it. Now, the reinforcements from Cougar are going to drive this back, but as the Disruptors come off of cooldown, Harstem will be able to turn this, clean this up and turn this around, and he is going to take a massive lead in this game.
Man,
Sorry, go on.
Just going to say, take a look at this army supply graph. You can see both players now fighting from where they once were at about 120 supply each, going way down. But Harstem taking the lead in army supply for the first time in the last 5 minutes. Finally, the pressure is off.
Look at that production tab right now. 6 probes being built at a time for Harstem. Oh, he's going to get a kill on the... Oh, he changed targets at the last second.
He's still going to get it. He's going to get the mothership, and then he's going to get the base from Cougar. Wow. That is so efficient. Harstem's stalkers have been terrifying this game.
Yeah, he has been really clinical with these. And it all goes back to that move into the main base that was so valuable for Harstem. And even though he wasn't able to necessarily win the game off of it, it knocked his opponent off guard. Knocked him off balance a little bit, and Cougar got a little bit impatient moving forward when he didn't quite have enough sky toss. Nice attempt right there from Cougar trying to go after that, after those disruptors in the backline, but Harstem controlling them down to the south and keeping them alive.
Yeah, man, this is nuts, but Harstem really showing that he's got a distinct advantage now, able to take these fights, even if he knows he can't trade quite as efficiently. Great splits with that blink on cooldown. Even if he can't, trade quite as efficiently, he knows he's got just enough. And finally, Cougar's going to get rolled over in game number 2, and Harstem will draw this to a game 3. You know, Steadfast, this is pretty boring stuff. Sort of exactly what we thought we'd see is just Harstem and Cougar, you know, even on games, fighting it out, 2 20-minute games. StarCraft is so boring these days, buddy.
I know, there was only like 25 or 30 fights in that game. Come on, can we get it up to 50? Come on, guys, let's see if we can break that Mana Fire Cake record. I want to see multiple maps mined out, you know, like they finish up with one map and then they're just like, all right, we'll pause this one, go into another map and just keep our armies intact.
I hope not. I kind of have to pee a little bit, so I hope they really don't take an hour and a half for their next series, even though that would be really epic. If that happens, I'm going to have to tap out. I'll have you solo cast for a little while and just move on out. This Russian Protoss player, Cougar, currently sitting, as we said, at 1-2 in his group. I haven't checked actually what the group looks like right now. Looks like Cougar has defeated Solier 2-0, which is to be expected, I think. But then lost, of course, 2-0 to Clem. And lost 2-0 to Geralt. So taking a map off of taking a map off of Harstem here rather is huge. And man, if he can get the entire series, he'll put himself up at 2-2 and have a very real chance of moving on in this group. That would be unexpected to say the least.
Yeah, an incredible result if he were able to do so. And well, I guess now Cougar's better than Mana. He must be. He 2-0'd Solier and Solier took a game off Mana, so yeah. Team Liquid, you know, maybe pick this guy up.
Yeah, I think they'll make some calls for sure. Let's hop into our last game of the series. Game number 3, gonna be on Death Aura LE. And spawning in that top left-hand position. Oh, man, I'm very bad at left from right. Top left-hand position from Team Liquid. It is our Protoss player representing the Netherlands. We've got Harstem.
You know what? You may be bad at left from right, but you're good at right from wrong.
Oh, that's why I'm neutral good.
Exactly. Me, I'm more of a chaotic good type.
Okay, I can respect that. I can dig it.
And we have spawning down in the bottom right position, representing the 3D clan. Looks like a bit of a chaotic good style himself. Mm-hmm. It is, utilizing Blink DTs very effectively, Cougar. And honestly, some of the best late game PvP I've seen in a while. Like really, really sharp stuff. A lot of really, really good upside from Cougar here.
Man, talk about it. And let me tell you, DreamHack is one of those amazing organizations that releases all of their replays usually after the entire event is over. So if you guys are PvP players and you want to get your hands on these replays, don't fret. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to buy them. They'll tweet it out sometime. They'll just be like, hey, by the way, DreamHack was successful. Here is all of the replays. And I'm sure a lot of Protoss players are going to be going back to mine this Harstem Cougar replay to get a really good look at late game PvP. Being played between 2 really evenly matched players, it looks like.
I mean, you should. There's so much to glean from it. It's really, really useful information, is what I would say. and like a different way to play as well from both players. Both of them showing a lot of different stylistic choices. So in game number 2, we saw that Blink Stalker Disruptor, which is such a staple from Harstem. The kind of mask span, stay very mobile.
Right.
And then we saw Cougar, kind of similar game plan in both games, a very quick transition into Sky Toss. I say very, but that's a relative term. And then even the attempt to go into Phoenixes.
Yeah, so many PvPs you'll see exactly the same all the time. So, you know, once the 10-minute mark hits, they're like, okay, time for 3 Stargates, time for Fleet Beacon, time for Carriers, and that's what I'm going to do every game because I'm a Protoss, and that's what I do late game. Not the case this time. It's nice to see both players trying something new and really, most importantly, reading their opponent. We talked in Game 1 about chess boxing and how it's a lot like that in both Games 1 and 2, I think. And it's fair to say both players really highlighting the chess aspect of StarCraft, where you've really got to get into the mind of your opponent, read what they're doing with their strategy, and try to extrapolate out as best you can using that inductive reasoning that Sherlock Holmes was so famous for, and sleuthing out what to do against your opponent.
Exactly. Sleuthing is a really good way to describe it, I would say, because trying to figure out what is happening in a PvP is, well, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. It's a lot of inferences, it's a lot of educated guesses, and it's
Right.
a lot of gleaning as much information as you can from a very small amount of information, from a very small amount of available information. And that is why I am so impressed by Harstem as a player. He is so good at making those reads. By the way, nice Hallucination Scout is going to see the Forge and Twilight Council once again. And, well, Harstem electing to go for a robotics facility here a little bit quicker.
Yeah, interesting choice from Harstem. You know, last game we saw him, he spotted that Forge down early from Cougar and dropped a Forge of his own, and whoa, okay. So there's Harstem's Forge as well, but Cougar dropping that proxy gateway. Looks like we're going to see a couple little Zella run-bys here from Cougar.
I am not sure, actually, what this is.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's a beautiful scout for Harstem. Wow, that is so nice. And, well, he even sees the cancel. Oh, man. Okay, I wanna fault Cougar a little bit for this.
Sure.
He should have waited till the hallucinated Phoenix had fully gone out of vision before throwing down that cancel. It would have kept Harstem guessing, but now he just knows there's a proxy pylon, and he knows instead of aggressive push, it's probably going to be used, yeah, for slow warp-ins of Adepts. And he's already got that probe on patrol. He's good.
I love that analysis. He's good. He's going to be fine. Don't worry about it, guys. And Cougar getting in for a scout as well, but Harstem already moving out to take down that proxy pylon. So well done by Harstem, and he's actually, yeah, gonna snipe that hallucinated Phoenix, but it still gets all the information it needs. Did he see the third base going down from Harstem?
He did not, no.
Okay.
Not quite. He is going to try and slip these Adepts in. Harstem, nice block right there. Ooh, and now the force field will mean that he is going to be able to trap these Adepts. Oh, even disrupts. Oh my God. Harstem with some incredible force fields right there. Not quite able to save probes. I thought he was actually going to be able to save, like, all of them, but just barely Cougar able to get a couple of probes there.
Yeah, that's really cute when you see a player investing so much in taking out, like, these early game units. It always makes me so happy to see him just really trying so hard. Remember, guys, this is a really, really difficult group, notably Clem, in this group to deal with, and I don't believe Harstem's played Clem yet. So what you have to do as a player is sort of look at the players you haven't played yet and sort of extrapolate which games you really, really need to win and which matches you really, really need to win. Because, you know, going up against Clem, going to be a challenge. If you get a 2-1 either way, you're probably going to be happy with that, and if you beat him in a 2-1, you're going to be ecstatic, right?
Oh, yeah.
So these series against players like Cougar, who are a little less well-known and who slipped in on the third day of the qualifiers, and you really need to expect to beat them, especially if you can with a 2-0. So Harstem is really under the gun right now, and I think that's why he's going so all in to make sure he gets every little advantage he can in this game. I love that his third base is down so much earlier, though. That should give him a little more play in the income game.
Yeah, he does have a small lead, and he's converted it mostly into army supply. He is up a couple of workers, but he got those gateways down much quicker. Mm-hmm. And, well, that's pretty nice. Both players have been sticking with this 3-gas setup. Of course, with the dominance of Blink Stalkers, you don't need that many gases. So, you know, it makes sense from both players. Similarly timed +2 attacks so far from both players, but Harstem is going to be looking to get aggressive right now, and he does have a pretty notable army supply advantage. And oh, nice force field on the ramp, gonna trap these units, and he will be able to pick off that shield battery for free, going after the observer, but nice save from Cougar, will keep it alive.
Yeah, good force fields and good target firing from Harstem there. Cougar will drive him away, but I really like that push from Harstem. Sorry, I interrupted you steadfast. What's going on?
No, I was just gonna say that was very clinical from Harstem right there. Nice blink back after the aggressive blink forward from Cougar. Harstem may want to pick a fight at the top of this ramp. Excellent force field. He loses a sentry. Oh, but, well, almost able to get one of those stalkers. Not quite.
It's so funny to see such precise force fields in the early game, and then in the mid-game encounter, they're just like all over the place on the ramp. All right, whatever works. Cougar going for early Dark Shrine again this game. It'll be the third game in a row where Cougar has gone for not only the first Forge, but also that first Dark Shrine. And Harstem on the back foot on a few of those technologies. This game, though, Harstem's Robo Bay down a little bit earlier, just like game number 1. So he should be working on some double disruptor pushes a little bit more quickly than Cougar can. Hopefully that'll help him, because of course his disruptor shots in game number 1 seem to be very superior to Cougar throughout the entire game. And I like the position Harstem's in right now. But Cougar staying fairly even. This is still wide open, anybody's game.
Yeah. Oh, look at this little micro fight happening on the top side. Of course, that Zealot is going to be enough to swing it in Cougar's favor. Harstem wanted to blink across the rocks to safety, but not quite able to do so. Kind of a bit of a bold move from Cougar. Actually, no, it's not. He's got excellent vision on the left side. I was going to say, very bold move, moving his entire army over to deal with that single blink stalker. But with the Zealot, he knows he's safe. Yeah. Excellent move.
Little scouting Zealot there paying off in spades. Observer speed coming out from Cougar. He's learning his lesson from the previous games, where Observer speed helping Harstem out so much more, especially with this DT fight going the way it has. There's still no, if you look at that structures tab, there's still no Dark Shrine though for Harstem. So there are going to be no DTs available for him. So he's got to keep that Observer alive desperately.
He does have 2 observers with this army and the HP advantage. Nice snipe on the observer from Cougar. Oh, big blink forward. He will pick off the disruptor before it can get its shot off, and now moves away. Excellent little skirmish from Harstem. And look at the resources lost. He's up 2,000 resources right now, and he's got a 4th Nexus. Cougar taking his own 4th, but he loses a lot of probes to this little Zealot run by. 4 probes getting taken out. And, well, Cougar will clean this up, but meanwhile, fight in the middle. Nice disruptor shot in favor of Harstem. Gonna trigger that barrier, and well, he may actually just push this to a win right now. Cougar does have 2 disruptors defensively, so Harstem's got to be very careful. But oh wow, oof, very careful enough.
Very quick blink, but now blinks on cooldown. Cougar going for the flank on the disruptor, not going to get it. Another beautiful force field there from Harstem, able to snipe it Immortal down. And Harstem just seems to be firing on all cylinders finally in this game number 3. Great splits there, a bit of miscontrol from Cougar on the disruptor Nova. And man, things just going better and better as Harstem barrels down on Cougar's 4th base. Cougar on 50 army supply to the 100 of Harstem.
Yeah, this has been Harstem making a statement in this game. He is like, you know what? You may be really good in the late game, but I guarantee you my timings are sharp. And, well, he cut Cougar deep with that Blink Stalker push. Ooh, nice disruptor shot, grabbing another 3 more Zealots. And, well, just such great rotation, such great positioning, and such great control from Harstem. Another big disruptor shot on 4 warping in Zealots.
Can we just point out how beautifully timed Harstem's disruptor shots are on those warp-in units? Just gorgeously done. It does look like nicely done there, dodging the last disruptor shot. And now Blink should be off of cooldown for Harstem. He can get as aggressive as he wants to be, baiting out that shield battery overcharge as well. This 3rd base is Harstem's last stand. The ability for him to end this game is now in his hands, and here we go. There's the big Blink, and another huge disruptor shot on the ramp. A 2nd one! Harstem chaining these sick disruptor shots and dodging his way out of all the ones from Cougar.
Oh my God.
Beautifully done by the Dutch boy.
Look at the resources lost. It's 12,000 to sub 4,000 resources lost. Harstem putting on a show of cost efficiency in this game number 3, and he is going to take the game and the series. What a performance from Harstem in game number 3 after Cougar showed that he is such a worthy opponent.